I'm Dan Mallard. We're going to be talking about unleashing innovation, the transformative power of Microsoft Copilot in modern business. So like I was saying a few minutes ago, if I have evangelized well today, you have some ideas that you can walk out of here with, some examples to use in Copilot to make your life better. And maybe you're not even using Copilot right now, and you think, okay, this is something maybe we'll try. You know, we'll get it for a couple licenses for a couple people and try it, which is what we did and how we dipped our toe into the water. So let's talk about that. I'm going to leave time open at the end. So if you want to chime in any interesting things that you've done with Copilot or AI in general, let's talk about that. I'd love that. If you have any questions about what we do at IronEdge or SMB Consulting, glad to talk about that. So let's get going. All right, who we are. We are Dan Mallard. I'm the Director of Client Success at IronEdge. I've been with IronEdge is an MSP. We were born in Houston. For many years, we had a branch office in San Antonio, still do. Over the last 20 years, we've grown from a Texas-based business to where we do business in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Arizona, Kansas City, a lot of Colorado. Our goal is to be the most capable MSP in the middle of the United States. And it's been fantastic. I've been there over 10 years. The business is right under 20 years old, but we're a Houston-born business. I run the client success team, and the guys that work on my team are consultant-level folks that everybody that's all of our clients get a senior-level consultant, a CIO-level consultant as part of our service. Those are the guys on my team. They're not really sales folks. They're not KPI'd on sales. They don't make a commission. Their job is to ensure that the clients that we have stay our clients and are successful, happy clients. That's the guys on my team. In similar businesses, they're called account managers or CSMs. But that's the division I run. I've been doing this for 20 years. I started as an IT guy. My first job in IT was a 2-week internship where there was a warehouse about this big, and I came in, and the boss, the director of IT at the time, over 20 years ago, said, okay, you see all these servers? And it's like a room like this filled with servers, pretty big company. And there are these big kind of gross yellow colored, old, big PC boxes, right? He goes, I need you to get in every one of these and pull the hard drive out. It's gonna take you about a month. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did that, got done in a couple weeks, and I just kept hanging around, hung around there for 4 years. It was a fantastic job, but that's how I started. I've done administrative roles. I've done direct technical roles. I've run a pro services team for a long time, projects team. That was fantastic. I have a PMP, but my whole career has revolved around technical, consultative in the SMB space. That's me. All right, this is sort of if you zoom out, this is what we're going to talk about today. These are the topics. So we're going to say introduction to the modern business landscape. I'll talk about that first. The role of AI in general outside of Copilot in business transformation, an introduction to Microsoft Copilot and sort of the problems it solves, like where it came from, problems it solves, transformative capabilities of Microsoft Copilot, industry applications and use cases. So the 2 slides I'm going to talk about in the middle are probably the money slides because they're going to give you ideas of what you can do with the product that can make your business better, leaner, your employees faster, so on and so forth. But there's a couple slides there I'll point out. Benefits of implementing Copilot, overcoming challenges in ensuring ethical AI use, which is a really interesting discussion. At first glance, you could spend the $30, add a Copilot license to your Microsoft tenant, start using Copilot, and you don't consider anything outside of that. There could be problems with it, so we're going to talk about that. We talk about different problems and concerns with AI in general. So as you go back to the places you work, you can sort of be an advocate to say, look, we need to consider these things, okay? The people that work on my team are now getting to the point where they need to provide consultative feedback on products that use AI. And this is new. I've had consultants that do this for 20 years. It's a brand new thing for them. So they have to understand what concerns that they need to communicate to the client when we're suggesting AI solutions. One of them being Microsoft Copilot. All right, and then future perspectives after that. We're gonna have a Q&A. Last questions, and then the last slide, if you want to get more information on IronEdge, there's a QR code. I promise it's not a virus. Take a picture of it, go to it, and you can get to our website. Right now, there's another really interesting topic, I think, going on right now, which is Sentinel-1 and cybersecurity, all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm a giant nerd on that now. I love it. I think it's really cool. I am thankful you all came here to listen to me, because that one is one that I was interested in at 11. Okay, so let's get going. The role of artificial intelligence in business transformation. And this is just sort of outside of the Microsoft ecosystem, outside of Copilot. But in a general sense, the role of artificial intelligence in business, we've seen this transformation of business since I've been doing this, and I've been doing this 20 years. Over 20 years. You've seen the internet's gotten developed and used widely. You've seen operating systems that are easy to use get developed and distributed. You've seen virtualization happen in the last 20 years. You've seen sort of the cloudification of infrastructure happen in the last 20 years. And now we have this. We have artificial intelligence. And I'm not kidding that if you haven't gotten in front of this and don't really understand it and get on board, business is going to pass you up. It's like the internet was back in 1996. Back in 96, I was in college, and I had an assignment. Some of y'all that are as old or older than me may understand this. In 96, I had an assignment to email the professor an email and say hi. That was an assignment that I had because it didn't exist. I had to find somewhere to create an email. I had to figure out how to do it. And it didn't have like a graphical user interface like it does now. There weren't windows. It was a much different deal, but that was an assignment in 96, and we've come that far just while I've been doing this work. So what AI has done is it's taken your traditional like Google query where you type something in and you get 10 million results. It's taking that type of research and effort, and it's kind of morphed that to where you can type in a question in regular, normal, standard language. You can pop it in, whatever platform you're using, and it will give you an answer after querying a gazillion data sources in language. And it can format that answer in language, which is much different than what a search engine does. A search engine just gives you a whole bunch of hits, a bunch of links. Maybe they're relevant. You have to then click on what you think is the best one out of the top 4 or 5, and you kind of wrap your mind around it. You go, okay, maybe this is it. And you click on the next one. That's completely gone. All of that extra effort is gone. Assuming that AI is working correctly, it's giving you a language model response. It's giving you a language model response to something that you're asking. So it's fantastic. That's really taken off in the last year or so, but you're getting answers to questions as opposed to links. Google's giving you hyperlinks. AI is giving you actual answers. And this kind of talks about what I was just saying. We're used to searching the internet and coming through pages and pages of links, and that's how we worked the last 20 years. Now we can chat in a conversational language to get customized answers from the internet. Answers to data point connections, answers that have never, that's just fascinating. Answers that have literally never been written together and formulated are there for you to see. So you're not seeing this prepackaged website with a response. You're typing in a query, a question in real language, and he's giving you an answer that may not have ever been given to anybody else ever before. It's very powerful. It's shockingly powerful. So people are saying this, that AI-powered chat is the new way to internet. AI is starting to get integrated into all the browsers, and you see that when you open a browser, you can see that AI is now part of it, and it's attempting to use it when it gives you search results. Apparently, the new way to wash and dry your clothes is AI-powered, and I can tell you this from experience. We had a washer and dryer for 20 years. Within the last 6 months, it died. My wife goes to Best Buy, buys the washer and dryer, the new one, puts them in. I swear to you, the first screen on the washer and the dryer, very first screen is the little readout where you choose what you want, powered by AI. I can't make that up. I have no idea what the AI would do. I actually have one theory that it knows when we leave the laundry in there and it's wet and it's sat overnight. Like it knows how many times we do that in our house, which is all the time, which is hilarious because I've got 2 teenage girls and they do it all the time. But AI is the buzzword. It's taken off in the last year. Many platforms are integrating AI, both just as a marketing thing and an actual feature into their products. I'm going to talk about some of those, and then I'd love to hear some stuff about what y'all are using, the successful AI implementations outside of Copilot. What Copilot is, though, it's Microsoft's version of AI that's integrated into all of their ecosystem. That's what Copilot is. So this is basically saying this is the role of just artificial intelligence in general in business transformation. And then now, fast forward to now, and you've got super powerful AI that's baked into Microsoft Word. It cracks me up because you have 70 years ago, actually, if you look at the slide, conceptually AI was being developed 70 years ago. So within my dad's lifetime. Conceptually was being developed. Basically, it iterated to now you open Microsoft Word and you have an AI platform living in your spreadsheet making application. It's inconceivable almost. That's how far this technology has come. And you see that here. Basically, it talks about artificial intelligence in the 50s, and you zoom forward to 2020, and we've got AI and Microsoft Copilot within the Microsoft ecosystem. So the transformative capabilities of Microsoft Copilot, this is one of the money slides. So if you're not using it, and you've heard about it, maybe some people at your organization have it, this is what it does. This is fantastic. I use this stuff every day and it makes my life better. So let me try to evangelize some of this. It can read a PDF, and we were talking about this a few minutes ago. Some folks were here right up in front. We were talking about this exact use case. It can read a 30-page PDF and give you a summary. Say, give me a three-point summary of this PDF, and it'll do it, and it's right. So I don't want to sit there. I don't know about y'all, but I get emails all day long. I get hundreds of emails. I look at them on my phone. If anybody has written more than a paragraph, I don't read it. I just can't. I don't have time to do it. But I can go into Outlook and do the exact same thing and say, summarize this email. I work with different technical staff and different consultants that can be very verbose to the point where it's overwhelming. Hey, tell me the summary. AI, Copilot, tell me the summary of this, and it will. It'll give me a very accurate summary. So that's sort of this first use case here, which is summarize a long PDF. It'll just do it. Number 2, draft emails and social content. And not only emails, but client-facing deliverables. You can have an AI baked into Microsoft Word or baked into Outlook, create content that you can actually use to email a client, to email a coworker. I'll give you an example of that. So I needed to email my team at 3 or 4 bullet points that I needed to communicate for the week. I said, Copilot, you basically open a thing and this thing slides open and you type whatever you want. I said, Copilot, summarize these 3 points in an email to my team. I want them to tend to these things by this date, whatever. Just threw it in there, and it did. Creates paragraphs and bullet points and all of this stuff. It's super well written. And it probably realistically would have taken me 20 minutes to type that out, get it right, proofread it. Proofread's another thing it does really well. And then to send it, and it did it in the blink of an eye. It's just another use case of it. And talk about proofreading. The older I've gotten, the worse my eyes have gotten. So I'm typing stuff on the computer and maybe there's a misspelling or whatever. And as I've gotten into my 40s and past that, I've gotten really sensitive about proofreading. Years ago, I didn't seem to have any problems, but now I'm misspelling stuff or whatever. I basically now take the text, I drop it, literally move it over one screen within Outlook, say, proofread this before I send it out, and it'll proof it. And then I can ask it, hey, what did you change? Because sometimes I don't even know. I say, I changed these things. Cool, take it, drop it back in, and send it. One caveat to that is if you're generating content with an AI tool, and in the same deliverable is your voice and the way you write and your language pattern, it can be drastically different. So sort of as a take-home tip, if you're using AI platforms to generate stuff, and I've had consultants do this, they basically used 3 paragraphs of AI-created stuff in a deliverable with the opening paragraph and the ending paragraph in their voice. It reads very poorly. It's something that really, really stands out. It stands out to the client. So take that with a grain of salt. Take that out of here, that if you're using these tools, make sure that you kind of understand, if I'm integrating this into the way I normally write and prepare documents and send things off, read it for content, read it for tone, make sure it's not jarring. Draft emails and social content. It can create plenty of social content. So if any of you are into marketing, have a marketing department, it can create images, literally create an image. It can create a video just from scratch. We use it on image creation. We put images we create into slide decks just like this one. As a matter of fact, the slide deck was made with Copilot. I said, create me a slide that highlights the capabilities of Copilot. This is what it spits out. That's great. That saved me 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's fantastic. Generate images, so I was segueing over to that. You can literally have it generate an image for a client. Show me a guy at a server rack, entering some code into a KVM. Boom, picture shows up. I can put it in a deliverable, and it looks awesome. Okay. You can ask questions tailored to your needs and interests to get consolidated key points from the internet. Form the internet for you. That's the way a lot of people are using ChatGPT right now. So that's a little bit different than Copilot. ChatGPT is fantastic. There's concerns there if you're using the free version of ChatGPT, and we can talk about that. That's not necessarily what this is about. We can talk about it. But it's awesome. You can absolutely learn new skills, and you can also augment what you currently know. I know plenty of developers that use AI right now to find problems with their code, to make their code more efficient. You can put PowerShell scripts into it and say, is this an efficient way to run this? It'll correct it. Get answers for specific and complex questions. That ties back into what I talked about in the beginning. It's a natural language model. So you can type in whatever you want into Copilot, into ChatGPT. You could put in there, and it can take that content, understand it, and create you an answer and convey that in natural language. It's fantastic. So it's this major shift in how you interface with the things that you're interfacing with. I have two daughters. They're both getting into the workforce, both of them. One's almost 17, one's almost 20. This is the way they're going to interface with the world, is through AI and interacting with their browser via AI, interacting with their business system via AI. So it's a really, really, really exciting time to see this change. Okay. I do, related to the last slide, as y'all have really interesting use cases, let's talk about those at the end. I'll tell you one real quick. So I said earlier, I get hundreds of emails a day. I'm sure y'all are the same way. There's specific people that I really don't want to miss an email from, like our CEO, Ryan. I don't want to miss an email from him at all. I may be on the road, I may be doing this or whatever. What I've been doing almost daily in Copilot is I open Outlook. Outlook has Copilot. I go in, you can type whatever you want. I said, show me any emails from our CEO that I haven't responded to. Boop. It lines them up. It gives you kind of a hyperlink where you can click and go right to the email. That just saved me who knows what. Time, effort. It's fantastic. I can say, show me any emails from our CEO that look important. Boop. It'll line those up. You can say, in general, show me anything that has a task for me, that looks like it has a task for me over the last few days. Boop. Lines them up, and then you go through and sort of validate the responses. That type of thing it's invaluable. Copilot, generally speaking, is about $30 a month per account. The time and energy and effort that saves me just with those use cases that I use it for all the time, it's worth its weight in gold. It's fantastic. Like if you walk out of here and man, I really want Copilot because I can open Outlook and say, what did I miss today? Or what's important from the boss? What's a to-do that I forget, that I don't, show me something that I haven't responded to that looks important. It can take all of those phrases and act on them and then show you the actual response. I'm a giant Outlook person. I use Outlook as my primary line of business app outside of Salesforce. I use Salesforce too. But in Outlook, there's so many inputs and outputs. There's to-dos, there's calendar items, there's obviously email, there's files in email, there's all kinds of stuff in there. it's almost the Wild West in my Outlook. There's so much stuff in there that it's really, really hard to keep up with. Well, this thing is a massive help. So that's one use case, sort of the Outlook use case. So industry, this is sort of zooming out a little bit, industry applications and use cases. So in sales, recap sales meeting and craft customer-facing emails. We talked a little bit about crafting emails earlier. When you use Copilot to craft an email, it has a very nice sort of moderate voice. It's well written. That's a really nice thing to come from your sales team or client-facing communication. Recap sales meeting. So what we do, we integrate, we have Copilot in Teams, we have it in Loop, we have it in OneNote. It can listen to a Teams meeting and then summarize everything that happened in the meeting and give you to-dos. That is amazing. It can give you, because I'll walk out of a meeting, 20 minutes later, I'm on 3 other things, and I may not remember that I had a to-do from that meeting. Well, if there's a scribe that is AI-driven, that lives in the platform, that I can go back to that meeting and look at my to-dos, that's invaluable. And somebody isn't having to sit there, I'm not having to staff a position to sit there and take notes. The AI can do it. So it's fantastic. Marketing, we talked about this a little bit earlier. It can generate your marketing content for you. It can generate social posts. Write me a post about 9/11 and how we are thankful for first responders. Boom, it writes it out, gives you a fantastic paragraph, gets you a picture, post it, you're good. I'm not kidding. You do this right now. Marketing, create audience segments and simplify customer insights. Simplification comes up over and over and over when you look at AI and what it can do. One thing my dad told me when I got into the workforce, I worked for the same company that he did for a few years. I know you're not going to believe this, but he said, use less words. I don't even know what that means. Use less words. And what he was saying, get to the point. Be concise, especially when you're talking to executives and leadership. They don't have time to hear the 3-paragraph story about how you broke something, but you also fixed it, but then something else might have broke. What happened? Tell me what the result is. Tell me how to fix it. The AI can do that for you if it's a written format. And it can suggest verbal, prompts too. But in a written format, let me give you a use case of this. When one of our clients, we have hundreds of clients, when somebody has a cyber event of a certain level, I need to write an after action report. Somebody on my team does it, and we send it to the client. Oftentimes that's a lot of data. There's a lot of stuff in there. I can tell Copilot to summarize it. We audit it, and it's better, easier to read. The client can understand it, and we send it right to the client. So there's those use cases that exist right now for the platform. You can literally install it, and within a couple hours, you're doing these things. You don't have to do anything. Let's talk about that. So if you want to get it, you don't have it right now. Whomever buys your licensing adds it to your account. Within 2 hours, you start getting notifications in your apps, like, hey, this is now an AI app on your phone. You're like, well, I didn't do anything. It just automatically sort of applies. And then generally speaking, you have to update, your computer will update, apply a bunch of updates, but within the same day, it's already in the system. You don't have to do anything. It's there, it lives there. You're not fiddling around with doing a bunch of stuff to kind of use it. It's already there, it's already exists. All right, service, creating customer responses, enhance self-service bots. Let's talk about that. We're vetting phone systems, okay? So you're vetting phone systems, you're like, man, it's really expensive and complicated to have a call center. You have people that sort of audit the calls and the quality of the calls, and there's things you have to consider, and I don't really have the staff to do that. I don't have a good way to do that. Well, a phone system, an AI-powered phone system that exists right now, it's a little bit different than Copilot, but exists. An AI-powered phone system can listen to all the calls that come through it, determine if the people on the calls are being efficient, if they know what they're talking about, if they're having successful positive calls. It's mind-blowing. We're vetting solutions for our company right now, and that's one of the main selling points. Everything's gonna have this AI selling point in your line of business applications. Well, we're about to get to a slide where we want to maybe slow down a little bit and understand what those things are capable of doing and what they have access to. We'll talk about that in a second. But the capability to make support, if any of you have help desks, if you have service desks, if you have any of these things that require a customer to reach out to you, convey information, you then understand the information, act on it, try to correct something or give them some feedback or whatever, all of that can be AI driven now, largely. When you go to a website and there's a little help me now thing at the bottom right, you enter your thing and try to get help. Those are getting better and better and better because they're AI driven. As a managed services provider, and like I said, I've been with one for 11 years now, I want people to have a boutique touch. But what I want more than that is them to get off the phone with their things solved faster. I want their password reset faster. I want whatever it is that they need faster. The AI can evaluate the inputs, suggest a change, or, as we get down the road with it a little bit, it can make the change. And the AI can do it without it even hitting your team. So that's, massive savings as far as labor, time, effort. All right, supply chain predicts disruptions. Yeah, AI is fantastic. In the IT world, we use artificial intelligence within the threat landscape to try to react to things that are suspicious in near immediate time. It's very similar to predicting disruptions. I mean, that's kind of a forward-thinking thing. We have tools and systems and vendors that we use that use AI-based systems to identify things that could be bad, likely bad, whatever, and it attends to those and lets us know immediately. As opposed, 10 years ago, the client would call us and said, hey, did you know that Joe sent out 10 million emails with a hyperlink in it, and there wasn't a good way to report on that? When that is initialized now, AI systems that watch your infrastructure can identify it and stop it because of the amount of inputs that security-based infrastructure has to understand things. It's way better than just a person. It's way better than just a rule set in Active Directory or somewhere. All right, operations create product descriptions. This is kind of a weak one, but absolutely. You say, here's my product, write me out a good description that somebody at an 11th grade level could understand. Boop, spits it out, you don't have to write it. All right, so this slide, my main goal with this slide is to show you that Copilot is not only in the Microsoft applications you use every day, or it can be if you pay for the licensing, it's in everything. This is the long-term goal, for it to be in everything, from your operating system to your applications to your development tools. It's in everything. So whether we like it or not, the tool's going to be integrated into all the platforms we can use. Are there any red flags there? I don't know. I'm going to talk about a concern that I have here in a little bit. But you look here, this is all of Microsoft's ecosystem. You may not be familiar with it, but it's big. It's more than just Microsoft Word. It's their development tools, it's their server infrastructure, it's their security tools, it's everything. So Copilot is or will be integrated into all of it. I just want to show you all that. Now, challenges. If you can walk out of here and you understand one of these challenges and you can be a representative for your company when saying, hey, AI is fantastic, but there are challenges. Let me tell you one. That's fantastic too. I'd love for you to walk out of here with that. All right, fairness. Fairness and inclusiveness are very similar concepts. AI, as it's currently developed and it's currently used and leveraged, could it be catered to a certain education level, a certain ethnicity? It's like an IQ test, right? There's fairness that needs to be considered in the way questions are written. You always need to consider, well, maybe not always, you want to consider all possible audiences from all over the world with all different experiences in life, and give all of those folks an equal chance to use the tool effectively. So that's a major consideration in these 2 bullet points here. Right now, I'm a 50-year-old guy with a college degree, 20 years of experience. I'm really good at using AI. Well, I think I am. I'm good at the concepts. I know what's going on. How do we make it so everybody has access to it? Kind of like the internet. We want everybody to have access and be able to use it and be efficient with it. All right, reliability and safety. This was like 6 months ago, a year ago, everybody was just freaking out about this, that AI could take over, do all these crazy things and create problems, and maybe it can. I don't know. But that's a real concern to understand, what can AI systems do and not do? What data can they access and not access? So reliability and safety is obviously really important. And the stuff you're going to hear on the news ties back into that oftentimes. Accountability. The people that are developing AI systems, they should be accountable for what they're creating. That seems reasonable. Companies that fund those, they should be accountable for the outputs that happen here. Transparency. AI system behavior and functional components should be understood, so they're not hidden and not shared with other people, like the Google search algorithm, right? The goal would be that people understand how these work, they can deconstruct them, they can test them, they can poke holes in them, they can find flaws. That would be a good, healthy situation to be in. Privacy and security. This is probably the biggest one I see as an SMB consultant. I have a lot of financial services clients, and they are very sensitive to working with a vendor that can access their data, their servers, their customer data, whatever. And forward-thinking clients right now are saying, okay, what do you guys use that's AI-driven? Copilot, phone system, XYZ, whatever. You say, well, what can that access? I don't have a great question to it. Well, it can access your Office 365 data. It can access anything that goes to the calling infrastructure. It can access all of that. And then my client has to make a decision whether that's okay or not. Is that okay? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I've got one client that's very risk averse on AI in particular. So they're asking their vendors and their supply chain to basically describe what they're using that has AI in it. And you may not even know that some application you have uses AI on the back end. But consider that for the companies you work with, understanding supply chain and who in that supply chain is leveraging AI for what, that can access your employee data, your customer data, anything related to your business that's concerning. Because there's this unknown there that does have a concern. I'm going to give you, I don't want you to walk out with this as the number one thing you take out of it, but maybe the number two. The number one thing is Copilot really is awesome, saves you a ton of time. We're just scratching the surface on it. That's the number one. Number two, in the MSP space, the managed service provider space, we have small to mid-sized business. A major focus since 2020 has been security, okay? As soon as all of y'all went to go work from home, that foundationally changed security models to where now I need to secure you and your asset, your laptop, as opposed to securing my firewall, my server infrastructure, and going in and out of our corporate office. So when that foundationally changed, work changed and IT changed forever, especially in the SMB space. That gave rise to a whole new set of antivirus tools, next-gen antivirus and all kinds of stuff. And what that also did was threat actors knew at that point, I can attack any one of y'all, get access to your Office 365, and potentially, cause a lot of havoc. So we know that, and I think we all deal with it. Probably plenty of y'all used Know before and different training tools, and you see these things in your business where somebody clicked on a link and it's, they entered their creds and chaos ensued. Well, consider the next step. Consider the next step, which is this. Once you integrate Copilot into your infrastructure, if I'm a threat actor, I get your password, right? I get into your Office 365 environment. With Copilot powering what the threat actor can access, that makes it very, very easy for them to use natural language, potentially, to understand what they have access to. For example, a threat actor would want to know how wires work in your company because they're going to want to intercept those wires. That's what they do. One of the many things they do. Well, what they used to have to do is, either download the whole mailbox that they have access to locally and kind of go mail by mail and understand who does what. It normally takes a couple months. Or now, if you have Copilot, they go in, hey, show me the last 3 wire transfers I had in my mail. This is a wire transfer, this is a wire transfer. So then they know who does it. They know how it works. They know the procedures. And they leverage Copilot to get that information much, much quicker. What I believe will happen, and I haven't heard about this directly, is Microsoft's going to have to make a marketing effort to say, yes, Copilot can also be secured. The use of Copilot should be secured, where if there's a bunch of behavior in Copilot that's not normal, or questions being asked, or all of a sudden somebody's never touched Copilot before and then suspicious stuff starts getting entered into it, the Microsoft infrastructure is going to have to be developed to counteract that. So if some of you all are IT directors, IT, security consultants and things like that, really consider that. There's not much we can do right now, but you at least can bring it up. Say there is a concern here and create some risk. I'm not doing my job as a consultant if I don't at least convey the risk. That's something that Microsoft is going to have to iterate on over and over and over. They've done plenty of good things in the last few years. They're forcing MFA, they're forcing BitLocker, they're doing all this fantastic stuff for security. There will be a push, and you guys are, that guy talked about it at that one thing. There will be a push to secure and understand what Copilot, the security concerns of it being in your environment. Super efficient, it can do lots of fantastic stuff, but it also gives a threat actor the ability to do the same. Consider it. All right, so that's privacy and security. I glossed over privacy a little bit, but it is a major concern. For example, I have access to quite a few things within our SharePoint environment just by nature of my job, okay? So if a threat actor got access to my account somehow, just in regular IT, they would have access to all that stuff too. Well, does the Copilot make it worse? I don't know. I wouldn't think so, but maybe. In other words, I have access to all this stuff, all these SharePoint sites or whatever. Threat actor gets access to my account. Can they very quickly and easily use Copilot to find stuff that they would normally take weeks or years, months to find? Maybe. One of the things we did when we tested Copilot in our own organization was there was a multi-person team across multiple departments that basically used it and tried to get into stuff. We tried to break it. And we did that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And when we were done, we felt largely very confident that we couldn't. But if you're going to deploy it and you're an IT decision maker, an IT stakeholder, that's not a bad way to go. Get it cross-departmental, have multiple people try it, try to use it to get to data and to get to things, try to trick it, try to get into things and see if it'll let you do it. Okay. All right, future perspectives. These are kind of up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen, but for all of the things that I discussed today, where work can be done much, much, much faster, how does that affect the workforce? I don't know. Does it make certain positions obsolete? I don't know. Theoretically, this phone system that I've been talking about, does that make my help desk obsolete? Or at least maybe my tier ones? I don't know. That's a consideration. That may be a positive business driver for you. That's okay. That may be a negative concern for you. That's okay, but you understand where this is going. Additionally, for people that are getting into the workforce now, I talked about my daughters are getting into the workforce now. They will work with AI for the rest of their careers. And then all of us that are in this conference room, we really haven't used it our whole careers. Some of us are getting kind of long on the tooth. So as new generations come into the workforce that have used AI in business every day, how does that change value? How does it change the value of me? Maybe I don't know how to use it at all. I don't know. Those are considerations on long term. Security, major consideration. From my perspective as a consultant, I don't know what I don't know. I normally can make my consultative decisions based on my history, what I've seen, what my partners have seen, what I've heard about, what I've talked to clients about. I can make decisions and provide feedback based on that. I don't have that base of knowledge yet using Copilot or AI in general to provide you fantastic feedback yet. I'll tell you that. Here's my concerns. Here's what I've seen. But it's a fairly limited data set, limited to the last 6 months, more or less. Lastly, future perspectives. Talked about my washer and dryer. AI is going to be integrated into everything at some point. What concerns did that create? I don't know. But at least you can be an advocate to say, when your line of business application has an AI component, the folks in this room at least have the experience to say, hey, wait a minute, what can it access? What can employees get to if they leverage the AI? What does the AI do? What data can it hit? Where is that data stored? Is it aggregated? Like Microsoft's Copilot, that data is already in Microsoft's infrastructure. You know where the data is stored. You know how it's acted on. They already have access to all of it. If it's a line of business application and your databases maybe live in their infrastructure, can AI access another customer's data? I don't know. Those are the concerns you should at least consider and bring up when you're talking about products with AI in it and what you're going to adopt in the next few years. All right. So my call to action for y'all is I encourage you to experiment with Copilot. I encourage you to get smart on AI, but I also encourage you to know appropriate questions to ask to understand what can the data access, what security concerns there are, that type of thing. Super important. It's a fantastic tool. Let me evangelize this right at the end. The time that I'm saving right now in my job with AI, and I'm not blowing this out of proportion. I know I'm from Texas and we just blow everything out of proportion. Probably 2 hours a day, easily. And it's getting me actionable things and important things immediately. And all I kind of have to do is dream up what I need. Hey, tell me the last time this client, I can say this, tell me the last time this client emailed me, what's the summary of that email? Boop, tells me immediately. As opposed to me digging through Outlook for 15 minutes trying to find some email or trying to figure out what I need to know. I want to evangelize that. It's fantastic. $30 a user. It's not cheap. It's almost like a whole other Microsoft suite just for that feature. $30 a user a month, so we understand. Several $100 a year. So operating at scale, that's not cheap. But know that it's going to be integrated into everything Microsoft related. Eventually, it'll be in everything. I'm very excited as an IT nerd to get to the point where artificial intelligence can be leveraged to say, what are the literally in language, what are the inefficiencies in my network? Boop. And it can go in and look at all the network layer, look at the way the servers interface with it and go, oh, here's your problem. You have this DNS entry somewhere that you guys didn't know about and it's fouling up the traffic. That type of effort takes a smart guy in your team hours, maybe never figures it out. We will be at a point soon where AI can do that. Microsoft's Copilot within their server-based operating system is fantastic, very similar. I did want to spend a few minutes and talk about any really interesting use cases y'all have. We were talking about it before, right? Kind of before everybody came in, we had some really interesting things. Do y'all have anything that's just fantastic that you want to share? All right. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah.
Well, they expand the workforce to be neurodiverse individuals,
Yes.
providing the competencies that they might need.
Yes.
And what we found is that you can use Copilot as a reasonable accommodation for the task streamlining that you have, but also a lot of other just organizational tools and confidence building and being able to participate. So you had on one of your earlier slides inclusivity, and that means many things. And for example, a personal example for me is I'm hearing impaired, and some of the meeting summaries you could actually turn on during the meeting, and you can get your own version of TV closed captioning, which helps you. But it also helps you when you're working in a multinational organization where you're going to have different voices and accents. Some people are soft-spoken and not, and it really helps. So I have coached a lot of people that didn't understand people that kept asking folks to repeat themselves, here's a tool you can use to be able to do that. And I think that's really important. One additional one, all of us are doing not just our jobs, and I'm on the board of a STEM nonprofit, and one day, to my despair, someone wanted me to do the secretary function. I had no idea, but turned on Copilot, attached it to the meeting. Now they want me to do it full time. Well, it's not really my where I aspire to be, but it was awesome. And for a tool like that, in the nonprofit world, I found a whole realm when I started doing that. Now I'm getting suggestions on new things to do and fundraising and campaigns just from engaging in that initial advantage. So there's a lot of suggestions. So from a growth perspective, it can help nonprofits do more with less. But you could also apply that to your business for different growth ideas by plugging in some of the prompts, some well thought out prompts that you'd like to utilize.
That's fantastic. Yeah. It's fantastic. Thank you very much for that. It has pre-baked prompts it'll give you to kind of get you up and going when you first start using it. And when I first got it, all I did is I went to YouTube and I said, show me the cool stuff that it can do. And there's just a gazillion videos that shows you how to apply what it does and different ideas. And Excel is a frontier with that platform that I haven't even got into very much. But the videos I watch and my coworkers that use it integrated with Excel, it's incredibly powerful. So for example, I saw one a few weeks ago probably where there's a set of data, and within Copilot, the person behind the keyboard said, take this set of data and create this type of chart with it. And normally you'd have to kind of highlight it, figure it out, choose a chart, do all this stuff. It's just immediate. Yes, sir.
Going back to security, like you have an email or whatever, you throw it in Copilot. Where does it go and find the answers, and how secure? And recommendation, I think my own recommendation, not knowing where the information is coming from, I just strip off anything private from the text you're throwing out there. That's a best practice?
Yeah, let's talk about ChatGPT for a minute. So that's a great question. I'm sorry I didn't talk about it. So ChatGPT is what everybody's using. It's free. All kinds of people use ChatGPT in there, and they're creating work product with it. I would advise you not to put identifiable information for your company or your clients in that thing that you're creating with ChatGPT. So for example, you drop in, I want to create this deliverable for this type of client. Don't put their name in it, maybe put their industry, and don't put any identifiable information, because that data is accessible. Where we're going to get is people are going to charge for private firewall data. Now, Microsoft's, if you're using the Copilot infrastructure, you're already paying for them to secure it. They already have access to the data. It already lives within their infrastructure. So as a consultant, I'd say the risk is, it's much different than a public lake of data that you're dropping stuff in a Google search, whatever, because you know where the data is, you know the resources they have to secure it. So when I use Copilot, there's much less risk from my perspective, but it is absolutely good practice to take out unique identifiable information when you're entering information or running a query or whatever. I'm less apt to do that in Copilot because it already has all of my mail information. It just queries it. It knows my mail. It knows all my, it knows our whole organization. Microsoft has access to all of our mail, all our files, all of our Teams meetings, all of my OneNote notes, all that stuff. So the concern is much, much less for Copilot as a platform in general, as opposed to a ChatGPT. So if you're using ChatGPT to do things, fantastic. Just know that that data is going to basically a publicly accessible site.
It's to you, and answering a part of your question. So it's probably about the time we demystify what is AI and what Copilot does and what all these sessions means. Is the data secure? Is it really in my tenant or is it outside, right? So I'll take a stab at it. I consult with a lot of clients on SOC operations and cloud security. Now I took a recent plunge into AI security. Okay, so Copilot is really a implementation of OpenAI in the context of your organization. So what it is doing is only to generate answers, it is using the LLM from OpenAI. But the contextual information is all your email, your AD, your Excel sheets, Word documents, all the data that's in your computer. For example, if you say that, hey, I am the CEO of Microsoft, it won't learn from you. Okay? But if you actually go to OpenAI in the web and you open a session and you tell, hey, I'm the CEO of, my name is Anne, I'm the CEO of Microsoft. Next time you ask a question in the same session, it will tell you, hey, Anna, you are the CEO of Microsoft. But it's only for the session. The moment you open, if you have used OpenAI, you know what I'm talking about, is a session. When you close the session, it is not learning from you. It is just in the context of the questions and answers. It takes that session, it takes the context and responds to you nicely, but it is not really learning from you. Same goes with organizations. You're not ingesting data into your organizational data. And the beauty of Copilot is it is integrated with your AD. So RBAC flows into it, ideally, okay? I have my own concerns when I actually did an implementation recently with a client. RBAC didn't flow, and some users are able to get non-privileged information when they ask the right questions in a tricky way. They were able to access. So I think Copilot is maturing. Microsoft is maturing in that, enforcing that RBACs. But the beauty of it is it shouldn't really get information that you're not supposed to see at all. And it will not be, don't confuse it with OpenAI. It is not taking the data outside your organization. Even in your session, if you tell some stupid thing to your Copilot in your computer, your colleagues won't see it. Trust me. Say good.
Concern that I see, I consultant, is this is a ball. We want to be a client in the school. We're up.
The big red flag are the people that have like administrator level access because they're a business owner. Those type of things are the major concern related to Copilot, leveraging Copilot to get stuff that you shouldn't have, or these people that are sort of these super users that really shouldn't be in a normal security model. But those people exist in companies all over the place. When that account is leveraged, Copilot can be a bad thing in that case.
Here.
Thank you. Regarding Copilot, we recently did a test internally again with Azure AI Studio based Copilot and integrated with SharePoint in our internal internet. And we have different locations, geographical locations. We have some employee policies that are not accessible, should not be accessible to some other employees in the location. So we tested out that, and it worked really well. It saves a ton of time to our surprise. And basically you can ask, hey, what are our leave policies? Like, what is our pay schedule? And it gives you answers within seconds with the citation to the policy. So you can further look at that. So likewise, is amazing. And yeah, from the security perspective, it definitely filters based on the security groups that you are in. Is not going to bring the details from all the other areas that you don't have access to. That's for sure. We tested out that. Just want to share that. Thank you.
Thank you for the evangelism. Thank you. Well, I think people are trying to get in here to eat potentially. So I appreciate all of y'all. If y'all would like to learn a little bit about our business, IronEdge Group, we're born here in Houston, feel free to come up and talk. I'd be glad to do it. If you have any questions, comments, I'll stick around for a while. So thank you all very much.